Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken. Today, guys, we are here to talk about Cry Baby. I'm gonna cry this entire review, guys. No joke, before I started filming, I actually put some water on my face because I had the idea I was gonna do some kind of an intro with a tear running down my face, and it didn't work out. Now I've got water and wetness like all over my shirt. This may be like my favorite release of the year. So I'll just get that out of the way. Like, I freaking love this release. The work that Kino Lorber put into Cry Baby on 4K honestly caught me off guard. Like, I did not expect Kino Lorber to put out a release like this in 2024, but they absolutely did. So I am going to sell the hell out of Cry Baby. And this is not a review copy. Kino Lorber did not ask me to do this or anything. I have no affiliation with Kino Lorber. I do tons of Kino Lorber content. Even though I do tons of Kino Lorber content, Kino Lorber, reach out to me. I've got an email. I've got, DMs on Instagram and Twitter. Reach out to me. We'll make some stuff work. Now, I will say I'm a bit biased because this is a childhood favorite of mine. I grew up with Cry Baby. I don't know why. I don't know what prompted me to watch this film. It had to have been my sister. It had to have been one of her favorite movies. I've got a sister that's 6 years older than me, so she really would scout out a lot of movies that I would watch at a young age. So Cry Baby, I think, was one of them, and we watched this one all the time. I just have a lot of fond memories watching Cry Baby when I was a kid. And I'll be honest, like, when I watched this movie as a kid, I took it 100% like serious, like as a movie. I did not think of this film as a satire at all, but it absolutely 100% is. This is my favorite Johnny Depp film. I'll be honest, not a big Johnny Depp fan. I am not a big Johnny Depp fan at all. I just did a short on that. I like Cry Baby, I like Nightmare on Elm Street, and I like Sleepy Hollow. Those are my three favorite Johnny Depp movies. Some other stuff that he's done, it's fine. I like Pirates of the Caribbean. Secret Window is a watchable film. I feel like this is a bit of a hidden gem, a lost treasure from the early 90s. I don't feel like a lot of people have seen Cry Baby. They were a little reluctant to jump into this one when it came out, but again, I'm going to let you guys know why this is a must-own for your collection. Right now, you can get this for $26.99 on Amazon, and I'm telling you, with everything this includes, no, it does not have lush deluxe packaging, but it's an incredible release and so worth the $26.99 for sure. I will link it down below in the description. Now that I got all that out of the way, guys, I pretty much just told you guys, buy this movie before I even reviewed it, which is not usually what I do on this channel. I'm just super passionate about this release. Now, this movie, it's got a great cast. You got Johnny Depp in this film. One of his earlier films, like he did Nightmare on Elm Street in 1984. That was his first movie. There's a story about him walking on the set and Wes Craven like picking him out because I feel like maybe his daughter like had a crush on John. It was something like that. I don't know the entire story, but his first movie was Nightmare on Elm Street. Then he did the 21 Jump Street show, and then I think he transitioned from that, which at that time he was kind of known as a TV actor, to do John Waters' Cry Baby. So, movie directed by John Waters. You got Amy Locan in this movie, who kind of plays the love interest of Cry Baby, Johnny Depp. This is really like Grease. It's like Grease. You got Johnny Depp, who's basically John Travolta, and you got Amy Locan, who is Olivia Newton-John. So it's kind of a more, I can't even say modern at this point, but at the time this came out, it's a more modernized version of Grease. And there's some real like Elvis influence with Johnny Depp's character for sure. But this is 100% a satire. It is a satire on 50s culture, the 50s, music of that time. Such a great soundtrack in this movie. Great original songs. Like I still loved listening to all the songs. It was so weird watching this film because, again, I grew up with it. I watched it all the time. But there was a time period of like 20 years where I didn't see this movie at all. So I'd say I haven't seen this movie since I was like maybe 12 or 13 years old. So watching movies like that you remember from your childhood, it's like you're watching it and everything's just flooding back and you're just remembering everything. You remember how you felt when you were a kid watching these specific moments. there's a moment in this movie. There's several, actually, because like I said, this is really not meant to be taken seriously, not 100% seriously. It's a great movie and I love it, but it's silly. It's silly. It's ridiculous. But there's a moment, I don't know if I should spoil it or not, where Amy Locan, I can't remember, Allison, her name's Allison in the movie, she cries in a glass, fills up the glass with tears, and drinks it. Drinks her tears. But a great cast in this film. You had Tracy Lords in this film, who was really fresh off the porn industry at that point. Like, I think she had done like one exploitation film directed by Jim Wynorski. And before that, it was like all porn. Like Tracy, and there was a big controversy with that because she was like 15 or 16 when she was doing these movies. And this was her first real film. So John Waters kind of plucked her out of the porn industry to actually star in a legitimate film and actually give her some sort of a legitimate career after that. So, and then you got Ricki Lake in this movie, who she had done Hairspray with John Waters like a year or two before. And I've seen Hairspray. Haven't seen a ton of John Waters films, to be honest. I've seen Pecker, I've seen this, and I've seen Hairspray, but I haven't seen a lot of his other films that I think there's a couple in the Criterion Collection that I probably need to get at some point. But Ricki Lake, like John Waters made her into a star and kind of propelled her to be the talk show host that she was, like super popular talk show host in the 90s. So that's definitely really cool. He built careers with this movie. Johnny Depp, Tracy Lords, Amy Locan to an extent, which we'll get into her in a little bit, what happened to her, because I really didn't know anything about that. Basically, you have the Drapes and you had the Squares, and there were these two factions in the 50s, and the Drapes were the rebellious kids, the kids with the leather jackets, the greased up hair, the greasers from Grease is basically what they were. And then you had the Squares, who were kind of the uptight, the properly dressed, the Ivy League type, not necessarily dorky kids, but just preppy kids. So you had these two opposing factions. Amy Locan's a Square, Johnny Depp is a Drape, and they come together and fall in love. So that's what the movie is. And then you have all these like ridiculous musical numbers and just moments of satire. And it's just, it's good. It's a good movie. I can see some people watching this for the first time and saying, what the hell is this? What am I watching? But if you really get into the social commentary and satire and just what John Waters is going for with this movie, it's a send-up of 50s culture. It's a love letter to 50s culture, but it plays around with it and it doesn't play it straight. So it's a good movie, though. I do recommend it. I think Johnny Depp is fantastic in this movie. Some of the lines of dialogue that he has to deliver is so dumb and idiotic and stupid, but he delivers it with such sincerity that it's great. It's so phenomenal. I think he's great in this movie. I think he gives a legitimately great performance, and I think everybody's really good in this movie. Now, getting into the 4K transfer, guys, this is a native 4K with Dolby Vision HDR10, and what I can tell you about this 4K, guys, is Kino Lorber did a phenomenal job here. This is absolutely fantastic. I think this is one of the best 4Ks that Kino Lorber has ever done. Like I said, you can tell they poured their heart and soul into this 4K release. John Waters talks about it like this was one of the first like big budget studio films. Well, for him, big budget. I think the movie was budgeted at like 11 million or something, but he was doing a lot of indie films before this. So this was his first like studio film, big budget film. And it looks great. You can tell that John Waters was given all the tools and he used it to his full potential because his direction style, the look of the movie, the aesthetic of the movie, it looks very 50s. It just captured that time period very well. It all looks great in 4K. There's so many great vivid colors in this film. Like some of those like concert sequences where everybody's dancing and you got the Squares dancing with the red background and the white suits. Like that stuff just looks so freaking good in 4K. But just the outfits and the costumes and the time setting and just everything just looks beautiful. It's got a really good grain structure as well. You can tell it's an actual film, but it has depth, it has substance to it. And it's very clear. It has some great clarity to it. You can notice all the details on the up-close faces. You can see that teardrop just come straight down Johnny Depp's face. When Hatchet, I didn't even talk about Hatchet face, guys. When Hatchet face turns around, you're seeing Hatchet face like you never saw her before in this movie in 4K, and it looks absolutely fantastic. So I think that Kino Lorber just did one of the best jobs of this 4K restoration, guys. I really think this is one of the best 4Ks of the year. Like, this is one that I will be talking about for all year. Like, all year long, I'm going to be talking about Crybaby on 4K and how good of a release this is. It really is great. It kind of reminded me a little bit, guys, of Roadhouse. When I watched Roadhouse on 4K, it blew me away. That's kind of how Crybaby is. Like, it's just from beginning to end. I think there's one sequence you could tell they just couldn't properly restore when they're kind of panned out, when everybody's making out on the mats in the grass and the storm's coming in. And I think, like, before they start making out and stuff too, like, some of that stuff, it doesn't look the best, but you could just tell it was a scene that they just couldn't properly restore. Everything else looks fantastic, looks great. One of the best, like I said, one of the best 4Ks that I have seen in quite some time, and reminded me, honestly, of Roadhouse. I just think it's that damn good. So Crybaby on 4K, Kino Lorber did such a great job. And I do have the Blu-ray. I did pop this in for a couple of minutes just to kind of compare the two, even though I didn't really feel like I needed to, because I can just tell when I'm seeing a beautiful, nicely done 4K. But I did pop in this Blu-ray, and this Blu-ray needed an upgrade. It's not like one of the worst Blu-rays I've ever seen, but it was in desperate need of that upgrade because this is extremely flat, and I would never want to watch this movie on Blu-ray again after watching this 4K. So this is one hell of an upgrade, in my opinion, from this Blu-ray to this 4K. It looked absolutely fantastic. Now, as for the audio, guys, you just have the DTS HD Master Audio 2.0, so I do not think there was any kind of audio upgrade here. I'm pretty sure that was on the Blu-ray, which this is not a movie that needed like elaborate audio 5.1, 7.1 or anything like that. But I think with some of the musical numbers, maybe it could have benefited a little bit, but I think that 2.0 is perfectly fine. Now, getting into the packaging, guys, guys, Kino Lorber, they've been accused of having basic packaging, you know, with just basic slip covers and just not a lot to their releases. And I get it. I understand it, but it also keeps their releases very affordable, $26.99. But I just think this is one of the most gorgeous slipcovers that I have seen all year. This is so freaking nice. But you got the synopsis, you got the cast, you got all the specs and everything at the bottom. Like I said, I'll show you the front again. And nice spine right there. I do like the spine. The Crybaby font is awesome. Take it out. You got the front of the 4K case, the back of the 4K case. Open it up. You do have a 4K disc, and the Blu-ray disc is actually in the player in the back, so I can't show that. I did not check and see that this had reversible cover art, but it does not. So no reversible cover art. Let's talk about these special features. I am blown away. I am just blown away, completely blown away by the work that Kino Lorber did with this release in terms of special features. First off, let's talk about the two cuts. We've got two cuts of Crybaby here. Now we have the theatrical cut in 4K. That is the only cut that is in 4K. And I'm sorry to say the theatrical cut is not on Blu-ray in this edition. You cannot watch the theatrical cut on Blu-ray. You can only watch it on 4K. But you do have, for the first time ever on Blu-ray, you have the director's cut. And the last time we saw that on physical media was apparently the 2005 DVD. That is the last time we saw the director's cut on physical media, was that DVD version. Now in this release, we have it upgraded to HD, so you get to watch that director's cut in HD. And I think the director's cut actually debuted with that DVD release. And all it is, they add some extra musical numbers and some stuff that John Waters said they cut out that he wanted to put back in the film. So I'm pretty sure that's all it is, just some extra musical numbers and stuff. I actually didn't watch it because I wanted to watch the movie that I remember growing up with. So I watched it, and again, I wanted to watch the 4K. So I watched the theatrical cut on 4K, but you get both cuts in this edition. And also, in addition to that, guys, you get a new documentary on the making of Crybaby. It's called Bringing Up Baby. And this thing has John Waters in it. It has the casting director, Pat Moran. It has the DP, David Inslee. And it has actress Mink Stoll. So everybody involved in the making of this film is doing that documentary. It's about 40 minutes long, and it's fantastic. It is fantastic. You also have an archival documentary as well that I think was included in the 2005 DVD. It came from Baltimore. I did not watch that one, but I think that one's also about 40 minutes long. And I believe you have a new commentary here, an audio commentary with writer-director John Waters, moderated by Black Mansion Films producer Heather Buckley. We also have eight 8 new interviews with the cast and crew. And when I'm telling you guys they are great, some of the best interviews I've ever seen ever for any movie, any physical release, that is an understatement because these are incredible special features. First off, guys, you have actress Amy Locan from prison giving an interview for Crybaby, which I did not know she went to prison. Apparently, there was a tragic drunk driving accident where she was responsible, and she went to prison for like 5 years, got out, tried to bring her life around, turn her life around is what I meant to say. And then she got locked up again. Something happened. There was like an article about it. I was reading about it. She got locked up again for the same crime. I don't know exactly how that works, but she got locked up for 5 years. Got let out, then got locked up again for 8 years, and she is in the middle of serving that term right now. Did an interview from prison that I think is like 14 minutes long talking about this movie, and she has nothing but glowing things to say about the film, about John Waters. And you can just tell, guys, look, if you're going to do an interview from prison, obviously, like, you care about this movie, and you can just tell that she cares about this film. And it's a great interview with Amy Locan. I think it's the best interview on this. Like, she doesn't phone it in. Like, she 100% wants to be giving this interview and talking about this movie, and I just thought it was freaking awesome. You also have an interview with Tracy Lords, and that's like 20 minutes long, and she's talking about everything that she had done before this movie and talking about how John Waters like saved her and brought her into this film, brought her into his family, and that's a really great interview. You also have an interview with Iggy Pop, just talking about how he wanted to get into doing movies, and somebody brought him in this movie, and he starred in it, so that's a good interview. Interview with Ricky Lake. 8-minute interview with Ricky Lake, and she's like, I'll come back and do whatever John Waters wants me to do. She seems like she's in a really good place right now. Really good interview with her, and the theme of all of these interviews is what I could tell is that they were all just so thankful for John Waters and the opportunity that he gave them and just working with him. And you could just tell that all these people just love each other, and they were just all a part of a big family on this set. Such a shame that Johnny Depp couldn't find the time to come back. I get it. Johnny Depp's a huge star. He's doing all kinds of stuff now. He's moved past Crybaby probably, but it's a shame that they couldn't get Johnny to come back and at least talk about this film for 5 minutes. But you also have an interview with actress Patricia Hearst, Darren E. Burroughs. You have Hip to Be Square, actor Stephen Mailer, who plays the lead square kid who's Amy Locan's boyfriend in the movie before Johnny Depp comes along. That's a really good interview too. And then you have an interview with the barber, the hairdresser of the actors in the movie. I think in particular Johnny Depp's hairdresser in the film. So 8 new interviews, guys, a new documentary, audio commentary, the past documentary. You have the director's cut, you have the theatrical cut. In my opinion, it's up there with Conan the Barbarian on 4K as best release of the year. Like, I would put the two of them neck and neck. Just in terms of special feature, Conan probably has it on the packaging, but in terms of the special features here, guys, this is really a remarkable release by Kino Lorber, and I could not be any more happy about Crybaby. If you like this movie at all, you deserve to have this movie in your collection. You need this movie in your collection. It's one of the best releases of the year. If you've never seen this film, I still highly recommend it. I say give it a shot. If you like the Grease-inspired films with a little bit more satirical tone, I think you'll enjoy this movie. I really do. And the special features are more than worth the price of admission. It's like 3 hours of new special features here. So I think it's a great release, guys. I think you need it in your collection. Like I said, I don't work with Kino Lorber. My door's always open, Kino, though. If you want to work together, we'll work together. But I don't work with Kino Lorber. I say get this release. It's fantastic. I think Kino Lorber did such a great job on Crybaby on 4K. But thank you all so much for watching this review. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I will leave the link for purchase for this title down below in the description. And we'll see you next time.